Here's the history and some of the key numbers behind the contest that grips the world of golf and beyond like no other. The first edition was held in 1927, where a Great Britain team arrived by boat to play in Massachusetts at the Worcester Country Club. Originally, the competition comprised of 4 foursomes and 8 singles, with 4 balls not introduced until 1963. In the first 22 editions, when it was just Brits and Irish against the US, America only lost 3. So, in 1979, in came the rest of Europe, including the future 5-time Ryder Cup winner, Seve Ballesteros. Since Team Europe was established, the head-to-head reads Europe 13, USA 9. Home advantage is a big deal. Europe's last away win was the miracle at Medina in 2012, and America hasn't won on European soil since '93 at the Belfry. It's accepted that both teams tailor their home courses to suit their own players. For example, in Paris in 2018, Thomas Bjorn asked for the rough to be kept extra long beyond the green to target the big booming American drives. 10 years earlier, Paul Azinger did the opposite, and the Valhalla rough was trimmed right down. On both occasions, the home side were resounding winners. So what about the money? The most recent Ryder Cup in Rome drew in a record 271,000 spectators and boosted the Italian economy by €262 million. In the US, the PGA America TV deal with NBC is worth $440 million. But no Ryder Cup revenue has ever gone directly to individual players. That's until now. In 2025, for the first time ever, the US team will each receive a fee for playing in New York. Of course, in Rome, legend has it Patrick Cantley refused to wear his cap because he wasn't being paid to wear it, though he insisted it simply didn't fit. Either way, Team Europe have made it clear they're more than happy to keep playing for the sheer thrill, joy and prestige of the Ryder Cup.
Good morning, welcome to Sunday edition. Victory for Man United, yes really. Is this the start of something big or a false dawn? Graham Potter's facing the axe after defeat against Palace. The West Ham boss has got games against Everton and Arsenal coming up, and it's looking grim for his future. Meanwhile, Arsenal will face Man City later today as they play catch-up on league leaders Liverpool. The England women's rugby team are in the World Cup final against Canada next Saturday, having beaten France yesterday. And we'll be cheering on Keely Hodgkinson in the 800 metres at the World Athletics Championships, hoping to add a goal to her Olympic triumph last year. Also, we mustn't forget George Mills in the 5,000 metres either, or his dad Danny will be looking for us, and Morgan Lake in the high jump. You can get in touch with the show, text us on 81089, WhatsApp us, or call up on us on 03717 223344. We're also live on YouTube and your smart TV. Just search talksport.com/watch for more details. This is Sunday edition on talkSPORT. Good morning, Henry. How's things?
Good morning. Danny Mills, who ended up with the England armband after Sven's notorious change everyone game at Australia, against Australia at Upton Park in 2003. They changed the whole team at half-time, and Danny Mills has, I think, still got the armband. Danny Mills looking for one of us, so we'll be on our best behaviour.
Yes,
but good luck to George.
George was all right in the semi-final yesterday. He was pretty confident, so hopeful. But Keely Hodgkinson, obviously our best hope for a much-needed gold medal. We haven't got one of those yet, Henry.
No, but we could get a 1-2 in that.
We could,
which would be fantastic. Anyway,
indeed. Talking of 1-2, Man United 2, Chelsea 1.
So yeah, I mean, there's some fantastic photographs of Mbeumo and Robert Sanchez confirming the concerns of quite a few Chelsea fans that he's not an elite level goalkeeper. Obviously, he had a very good Club World Cup. I know you love the Club World Cup, and few it's secondary to the World Cup in terms of importance. But I don't think he's an elite level goalkeeper. And
he's not the first keeper in the world to have done that, though. Come on, you're coming out, you're 1-on-1. What are you going to do?
He did look quite pumped up from the start of the game. And obviously, whether it was the occasion and scrutiny and all that, I get that. But I just think they've invested so much in so many different parts of the team that you just think, maybe they need another centre-half, maybe they need a top-level goalkeeper. Anyway, you're at the back page of your esteemed newspaper, The Sun. It's all going off. Very clever. And then you have Robert Sanchez taking out Mbeumo, and then Casemiro taking out or fouling Santos. His second yellow card, he went off. And
put Man United under quite a bit of pressure, actually, when they look to be cruising, as the Express says on their back page.
Yeah, you were intrigued by that. Ruben in a blues cruise. I mean, you love a cruise, don't you? You love floating around the fjords on your
It seems like they did that headline at half-time, because they were hanging on a bit.
They were hanging on, but I guess it's such an important result for him. I thought performance first half, there were sort of good elements to it there. Matthias de Ligt, I think, has been one of their best players so far this season. It's good to see, because do you remember when he broke through at Ajax 17-18? He was actually captain. I can remember one game he was actually sort of talking to the fans, and it was like sort of the president of the club, or the captain, or the manager. So, and Manchester United need leaders. So yeah, absolutely. Ruben in a blues cruise. I think I quite enjoyed the back page of the Sunday Mirror. Holy smoke. Amarin doesn't need Pope's tactical blessing as Gritty United hang on to carve out.
That's a good one. Of course, he said he wouldn't change his tactics even for the Pope.
Even for the Pope, I know. I mean, that is
certainly sticking to your principles.
An interesting comparison. Just on that, there's a brilliant picture on the front page of the Sunday Times by... Is it Mark Atkins? Is it? Yeah, of Getty Images. A fantastic picture of him. If I can hold it up just for YouTube watchers of him. Of Sanchez taking out Mbeumo. Works really well. But also on the front page of the Times' pull out is Nuno in West Ham frame as Palace crank up pressure on Potter. And there were some great stats doing the rounds last night that Oliver Glasner's overseen more wins at the London Stadium than Graham Potter has. And it is TikTok time for Potter, because protests beforehand, obviously they were directed at the board, but there is this doubts and dissent, and Potter, it's just, there's some decent players in that team.
Long-term project manager, you told me.
Well, the point is, I'm not a huge Potter fan, and I know he's got his sort of, many supporters in the media. But I just think that if you are going to have a project manager, which he is, you give him time. But clearly it's absolutely, it's not working. You can't see the performance.
Do you think if you're a project manager, as you say, is this enough time?
I think he's on borrowed time, if we're talking time, and that's why everyone's throwing Nuno into the frame. Gary O'Neill's been mentioned as well.
Player, of course.
Slaven Bilic, that would be a surprise. I mean, look, we all love Bilic. He's a great character. Remember his times with Croatia against England.
You're a Nuno fan, though, aren't you?
I like Nuno. I just thought he was unfairly treated. Well, I thought he was naive to have a go at Marinakis. You don't have a go at your boss in public. But I just thought, he got them into 7th place. I think, wasn't he manager of the year or contender for manager of the year? Mm-hmm. He got 2 players in the PFA team of the year, Wood and Sells. So you could just see that they were developing. And is Ange a big upgrade on Nuno? I wouldn't have thought so. He's got to finish 6th to prove that. So yeah, Nuno in West Ham frame, and as West Ham fans are quick to point out, the board tend to go for someone who is available.
Yeah, we'll be talking about West Ham more in depth at 9:30 with Will Pugh, who has a Hammers podcast and is a journalist and broadcaster. He'll be giving us all the latest and what the mood's like. I think we know a bit what the mood's like, don't we, Rand at London
Claret and very blue.
Indeed it is. Now, I'm sure you've already got your posh seat booked for Twickenham next Saturday, Henry, when the England women's rugby team play in their 7th successive World Cup final.
I was in France yesterday helping my daughter move back to England. So I listened to the French commentary, which was Angleterre battue, and it sounded like the France were on top. And then I sort of read all the reports this morning on the front page of the Sunday Telegraph sports pull out. We're ready to rule the world. And the Red Roses prevail 35-17 in the semi-final at Ashton Gate. I bet the atmosphere there was fantastic. They love their rugby as well as football in Bristol and at Ashton Gate. So England overcome France to set up a final against Canada. It was probably a slight shock. I mean, you're more in tune with these things. You said that Canada
are
really
the favourite.
Well, they were the favourites.
I think they're the favourites for that semi-final. I think they're second ranked behind England. So the final itself is not a shock. Actually, and I did watch this yesterday, England struggled a bit in the first half. France should have been ahead at half time, but they pulled it all together in the second half.
Do you think it's getting the coverage it deserves?
Yeah, because...
I mean, 82,000 heading to Twickenham is huge. I mean, I'm not necessarily comparing
but a lot
it to
of
the
the
Lionesses,
games haven't been very competitive.
No,
That's the danger. The business end is semi-finals certainly is. A couple of the quarterfinals were quite good as well.
But not
the
many,
final will be
not
a
many
proper...
papers have got this on the back, even the sort of, as you would call them, posh papers. I mean, the Sunday Times have got a sort of a blurb on it, Twickenham, here we come, and it's pages 12 to 13. Obviously, the Telegraph's a huge rugby paper, so they've got it on the front as well as the Casemiro.
I don't know what else you would do. I think it has
quite a big
coverage.
moment.
No, that's a big
England
moment.
getting to a final?
Yeah, but it's their 7th successive World Cup final. This is the thing.
Okay.
In women's rugby, they're expected to get to the World Cup final. That's the pressure that's on them.
If you'd been sports editor yesterday, would you have put it on the back?
I'm not going to pick any holes with
I'm not picking any holes.
else.
I'm just saying. I mean, you obviously the fact that you know they've been on 7 on the spin.
Done a cross ref maybe, but I don't think it's warrants back page leads at the moment. It's not quite there yet. It's developing, but it's not quite there yet.
Will you cover, as a sports editor, will you cover it a lot in this week, building up to it?
I think, yeah.
I mean, there's some interesting characters, and they're good talkers
We've been doing it during the week. There's some of the backstories have been, really interesting. So, and I think the build-up and the final will be a big occasion.
Yeah, 82,000.
Are you getting a posh seat at Twickenham next Saturday?
I'll be working on football.
You usually pop along to these rooms.
I'm going to go to a couple of the Six Nations, because that's certainly one of them, because I love those.
Anyway, good luck to the England women's rugby team next Saturday. No doubt we'll be reflecting on that next Sunday. This is Sunday Edition on talkSPORT. And next up, we look back on all of yesterday's big games.
Cities like this need games like this. In towards the right, Ekitike through the legs of the goalkeeper, and he scores. Of course he does. Liverpool beat Everton at Anfield for the 5th time in a row.
West Ham 1, Crystal Palace 2, and wow, what a goal from Tyree Mitchell.
Burnley 1, Nottingham Forest 1. I've just been singing his praises, but Alexander Zinchenko has scored an unfortunate own goal.
It's Wolves 1, Leeds 3. Remember, Wolves were ahead early in this game, but Leeds have been running riot since then.
You said there was going to be another goal. It's just hit the back of the net. It's all square, Alex Crook.
Just call me Mystic Crookie. 2-0 down after 31 minutes. Spurs, well, they've still got time to go on and win this. Brighton 2, Tottenham 2.
It is a red card, and it's gone to Robert Sanchez, the Chelsea goalkeeper. 10v10 now. Manchester United 2, Chelsea 0. What a game of football. The Blues go away with nothing. It's finished at Old Trafford. Manchester United 2, Chelsea 1.
And we will finish it on the banks of the Thames. 2 West London clubs. Sessegnon is forward to cross, and it's a looping header, an own goal by Pinnock. Fulham are the cream of the crop in West London. Fulham 3, Brentford 1.
That's how the Premier League sounded on talkSPORT yesterday. Liverpool building on their roller coaster Champions League victory in the week. And, you know, Henry, they're romping away at the top of the Premier League. They've won in the Champions League in the week. And yet nearly every game seems to be a bit of a struggle.
Well, and absolutely, they're not in top gear, which makes it more ominous for the for the rest. I mean, when Isak is up to full speed, I mean, you know, they're even going to be even more of a threat.
Good point. Where does he fit? Is it Ekitike and Isak? Or is it Ekitike, or is it Isak?
Well, I think Ekitike can play off the left, but Gakpo's not done a lot to be dropped from there. Where Ungama, when he comes on, he often plays on the left, cutting in. I mean, he's been a threat there. You could play the two of them up front, but look, they're going for 4 major trophies, or 3 major trophies. So you can just sort of rotate them. I don't think that is a problem, and they obviously both sound. I mean, Ekitike yesterday. But it's interesting looking at the papers today, and everyone's focusing on Gravenberch. I mean, what a player he's been. And it's something that Chris Bascom makes a point of in the Telegraph. He just said he goes through the gears to show he is Europe's premier midfielder, which is, as a 6, I mean, I think anyone who saw Pedri's performance against your Brave Boys the other day, I mean, he's a fabulous.
Come on, I'm not getting into the game against the other day. I know your man Rashford. His best games are always against Newcastle United, by the way. We digress here, but they are.
You should sign him. It might save you a bit of grief and a few points.
He scored against us in the League Cup when Man United... He had his brilliant game up at St James's Park. So, yes. But you were... I know we're digressing here, but just quickly on Rashford. Immediately he scores those 2 goals. You'll go, oh, it's obvious why he should play for England and Tuchel loves him and all that. But he hasn't put together a consistent body of work, although I admit it was brilliant.
I was surprised he was in the last England squad, but then Tuchel obviously remembers his 2 games. You know, so not only against Newcastle United he scores, he was brilliant against PSG, twice for Manchester United. So anyway, but look, back to
digress.
I mean, first things first, Everton, the way they fought, 2 sides to every story. Grealish and Moyes have got every right to be annoyed at only 3 minutes, and also the quick free kick. The advantage should always be with the sinned against team, the attacking team. I just don't, referees have got to be a little bit more sympathetic and understanding to that.
Just on Gravenberch, it's really interesting that he's grabbed the ball by the horns and he is the dominant midfield player when they spent so much money on Florian Wirtz, who's hardly been noticed, really, and didn't start yesterday.
Yeah, I think he is... I mean, he's a fabulous player.
But we haven't seen it.
We absolutely haven't, but we've seen it in the past with him. I think that he is coming to terms with the speed difference between German football and English football. He is being pressed and pressed and pressed by every team that he comes up against. But I think he will come good. But he's a different player to Gravenberch, clearly. He's more a 10, and we will see his worth as the season goes on. Liverpool have done their scouting well on him. But just on Gravenberch, I think obviously it's huge for him. He's classic number 6 last season. He was superb, and Szoboszlai and obviously Alexis McAllister were the sort of 2 more forward points of the 3-man midfield. But I think what we're seeing is the development of Gravenberch's game this season. And he was talking afterwards, and the quotes are in Chris's piece in the Telegraph, about how, yes, he was a sort of more orthodox 6 last season, but actually he is being given this ability or this freedom. He kept using the word freedom to push on, and we saw it with his goal, lovely pass from Salah, and then his assist for Ekitike. So we're seeing more of a sort of an 8, more of an attacking role with him. But huge credit should go to Szoboszlai in particular. It's such a selfless individual, the captain of Hungary, just a real team player. The work that he does to allow that. If you just watch Liverpool, you see Szoboszlai drop back when they're like Pistons when Gravenberch goes forward. But also, what has Arne Slot done? I mean, he's just fantastic what he has done, whether it's man management, whether it's tactical.
They have spent a few quid, Henry.
No, but sorry, on Gravenberch in particular, he didn't spend anything on Gravenberch, who was good under Klopp, but is not this level, as Chris says. He's Europe's premier midfielder. There are other midfielders in the frame for that role. I mean, I think you could look at PSG's midfield, Rodri when he's fully fit and all that, but absolutely. He's certainly the most improved number 6 at the very top of world football.
Talking of great midfielders, Tottenham have got a couple, haven't they, in Bergvall and Custis, who were playing really well for them, and Tottenham were 2-0 down yesterday, but Thomas Frank said it was actually one of their better performances so far this season. Came back to 2-2. It says here on the list, is there more fight in this Tottenham team?
Yeah, I think so, because you've got a manager who can organise a team and structure a team. And you can see that. You can see the balance. I quite like watching Thomas Frank on the touchline in terms of that mixture of fire and ice, that sort of determination, that desire to win, and yet also that analytical. He'll go back and have a look at his iPad with his assistants and sort of tweak things out. So there's a bit of a chess grandmaster there. But yeah, I mean, Bergvall, I can remember some of his early games for Tottenham, and he did look like a kid, and he was getting rollocked by the goalkeeper, all sorts of, one or two.
But he looked feisty.
Issues.
You could tell
he looked feisty, absolutely. Yeah.
He had a bit about him. Even,
yeah. He would leave a foot in. He would, maybe. Yeah. I think it's good. But then you've got Paulinho when he plays. He's an important player in there. So again, they've recruited.
Archie Gray's not getting in the team.
I know.
Who would have thought it? No Archie Gray. But which I think shows that, let's be fair, their strength and depth now is better.
Strength and depth. I mean, Archie Gray, he finished the summer as a European Championship, so there's a good player in there, as you would bridle at.
Absolutely. Quickly on Burnley Forest, Postecoglou does get a point, but I don't know. Will Forest fans be convinced about this? Are they going to have him?
I think some of them were very disappointed to see Nuno go. I think they did decline at the end of last season. I think if you got them into the Champions League, it would be very difficult to have got rid of him. You would know this better. The level of tensions with Edu. But yeah, Ange has got to go in there and has got to improve on the amazing work that Nuno did. And good luck to him. I'm not completely convinced, no.
And Wolves got beat by Leeds in a week when the manager got a new 3-year contract. It reminded me, actually. Remember when Solskjaer got a new contract at Man United after he'd had, I think, 3 defeats on the spin? They went, we'll show you. We're going to give him a new contract. Now they're giving Pereira a new deal, and there's no sign at all that Wolves are going to turn this
He was asked afterwards, Pereira was asked afterwards, whether he felt worried about the future or whatever. I bet he wouldn't feel worried about the future. He's got the security of a contract and a payoff looming if he does go. I think it would be a little bit harsh to rush him out the
No, I agree, but it was almost over the top. We'll have a 3-year contract. Don't listen to them. Yeah. But of course, the fans have got it in for the owners, and their response is, well, we'll show you. We're going to give this bloke who's just lost 4 successive games at the time.
I mean, the flip side of that is that the promoted teams are actually doing okay. Yeah. Which is good. And you looked at Leeds' second half, and if they can keep Calvert-Lewin fit, and obviously they're going to get loads of points at Fortress Ellen Road because of the passion of the place.
Second to none, those fans, aren't they, Henry? In Henry Winter Bingo.
Who's number one? I suppose Newcastle
fans, obviously. No, you tell me where they don't have very good fans in the Premier League, Henry.
They're 1 or 2 places that don't have the best of atmospheres. Yeah, well, the atmosphere's changing. It's ticket prices, it's kick-off times, it's all sorts of issues.
Mm-hmm. You're not going to name one, are you? Henry Winter on the fence there. Coming up next on Sunday Edition, West Ham in crisis again. This is Sunday Edition with Shaun, Custis and Henry Winter. In about 9:45, we'll be talking about one-season wonders. We've got a few crackers on that in the best of the best. But before that, the latest subject is West Ham. It feels like you could give it a whole show on its own, West Ham, almost every week. 5 games in, 1 win, 4 defeats, 18th in the Premier League, 2-1 defeat at home to Crystal Palace. After the game, manager Graham Potter gave his thoughts on the defeat to talkSPORT's Ian Abrahams.
You still think you're the right man for the job?
Yes.
Even though we've had a poor start to the season?
Yes.
Fair enough. Can I ask you about the couple of team selections? No, I mean, listen, I asked the question, you answered it, fair enough. Can I ask you about a couple of team selections? The goalkeeping situation, you brought back Areola today.
Yes.
Can you explain why?
Yeah. Sometimes you have a feeling that a player can help the team. And just like all positions, you have to make those calls. And Fons has got some qualities. Of course, he has. He's a top goalkeeper, and he'll help us. He'll help us today, I thought, and I think he did. I think he did well. It's. I don't think it's anything to do with him. It's just. Yeah, that's just life sometimes.
Finally, from me, you got 2 away games in a row after having 3 difficult home games out of 4. Is that going to be maybe more helpful for the side, having to go away from home and not have the pressure of playing at the London Stadium?
Well, the Premier League is you have to deal with whatever comes. At the moment, we're suffering here. There's no getting away from that. We are. And so we have to move to the next match. The next match is away, and we have to do our best to put on performance and give us a chance to win the game.
Unbelievable. Henry's favourite goalkeeper, Matt Hermanson, dropped already. He's been there 2 minutes.
And I think it highlighted yesterday that the issues are not necessarily the goalkeeper, but issues in front of him.
Must be partly the goalkeeper. He's dropped him.
Yeah, and what happened to the goalkeeper yesterday?
You let in.
CD goals. There you go. Do the maths.
Who better to discuss the crisis at West Ham than our old mate Will Pugh, the journalist and broadcaster and co-founder of We Are West Ham podcast. Will, good morning.
Gents, how's it going?
Morning, Will.
Well, very good, but how's it going for West Ham fans, Will? You're a very keen watcher, you're a very keen analyst of them. What's up?
Yeah, it's not very good. It's the short answer. Yeah, it's sad, really. There's just total apathy around the club at the moment. It's just complete malaise from top to bottom, seemingly. It's hard. I think that's the saddest thing, is the apathy around the club. The last 3 games, I was quite proud of myself yesterday for staying till the final whistle.
Not many did.
But that's what I mean. There was loads of empty seats in around the whole ground anyway. You've obviously sort of touched on the protest before the game. I just think there's no faith anywhere among the fan base that any part of the club is running itself in a sort of professional manner befitting of a club the size of West Ham from top to bottom, really. We're so easy to beat this season. I think 7 corners we've conceded from, and any of the other goals outside of those, lots of them have come from wide positions as well. I just find it so, the sort of bare minimum for a Premier League football team the size of West Ham's, given the amount of fans we get through the door and the spending power and all of the things that go with West Ham, or modern day West Ham. Just the minimum should be know how to defend a corner, have a goalkeeper who's able to save shots with his hands and command his box. It's just, infuriating, really.
Well, Shaun and I were talking beforehand about grounds which have issues with atmospheres. There's nothing you can do, or West Ham can do, now that they are in an athletic stadium. The atmosphere there, however much the West Ham fans try to recreate the bowling ground, architecturally, structurally, they're never going to have that. So what can they do to improve that atmosphere, apart from having some better players?
I think ultimately you've hit the nail on the head there, Henry, really. Whether people like it or not, and I heard Karen Brady on your show.
Can I just stop you there, Will? Can I just play a clip from Karen from the show a few weeks ago where she gave her thoughts on the current stadium?
I mean, we obviously had to apply for permission to move, and we had to state our cases of why we moved. I mean, we moved less than a mile away within the same borough. So sure. I think if we were Newcastle wanting to move to London, I think someone would have something to say about that. But actually, we were moving. There was a stadium there that was already built, was built for the Olympics. The Olympics was over. It could have become like all the other stadiums in the world that the Olympics have been to, with tumbleweed running through it. But now it's vibrant, it's full, it's exciting, it's a great place to be. It's easily accessible, and we got 35,000 families, so it's a success story.
There you are, Will. You get given a brand new stadium and you're not happy.
I'm doing the tee-ups to your segments for you now, Shaun.
Yeah, I was going to tee it up myself, but Henry spoiled it. But go on.
All of that stuff at the end there about the Olympic legacy and not having an Olympic stadium, that's for the government to sort out. That's nothing to do with West Ham fans. West Ham fans want a stadium befitting a club of our stature and history, which harnesses the atmosphere, because there's nothing like West Ham fans or Leeds fans or Newcastle fans, of course, but we're historically, as a club, where we often lacked sort of success, one of the things that our fans were particularly proud of was playing at Upton Park on a pitch where Bobby Moore, Jeff Hurst and all the boys of '86 and those historic
come on, you can't keep on harping back
it.
to it, though. I get it, but you're never going to go back there. You're never going to get out of this stadium. As Henry says, what are you going to do about it?
Well, most West Ham fans will tell you it needs it. There's a few flags here or there and a bit of claret carpet and bringing the stands close to the pitch will only do so much. It needs real structural change. You look at Everton's new ground. If West Ham were packing out a stadium which was structurally built and designed just as Tottenham's is, with acoustic design and all that sort of stuff, it takes real infrastructure and actual building works to sort of create a stadium that enhances.
Well,
that's the least of our problems.
It was a great deal for the board, but not a great deal for the fans.
Quite, of course. No West Ham fan was desperate to leave Upton Park anyway. Whether or not the ability to develop it, there wasn't too much sort of announcements around whether we were actually able to develop it or not. It was kind of no, we can't do that, and nothing further. And I mean, look at it now, it's extremely well developed, that site. And no West Ham fan who went as long to Upton Park as I did, and as many people who've gone way longer than I did, no one goes, oh yeah, I wouldn't swap or I wouldn't go back. I know we can't, but no one enjoys going to West Ham more now than they did at the old ground.
What about on the pitch, anyway? What are you going to do about that? Let's focus away.
At least you're far from the action.
Let's focus away from blaming the stadium. How about some players and the manager?
I think. I mean, as you will know, Shaun, and lots of people, certainly the listeners to the We Are West Ham podcast will know, I was a huge David Moyes advocate. Was really disappointed to see him go, despite the complaints about his last 6 months, which occurred after he'd had a contract offered to him and then withdrawn, of course. But so I think bring back Nuno. I think the way the club is set up now, I think the most likely way of delivering success on the pitch is with a more pragmatic manager. What Nuno done at Nottingham Forest was absolutely superb, and it was a similar sort of achievement, achieved in a similar sort of tactical way that David Moyes did at West Ham. So I'd be well up for that again, but then you risk entering the vicious cycle of, there's a large portion of our fans who are still very much wed to the idea that West Ham should be playing a more attacking, possession-based brand of football. So it just feels like we're just back to that stage in the cycle again. You bring in someone like Nuno, that he'll solidify us, confirm our place in the Premier League for a little while, and then the fans will get bored of the style of play, and then you start again.
You should have got Postecoglou. You could have lost 7-4 every week.
Exactly. So I'd have Nuno. I would have had Jose Mourinho as well before we went to Benfica. But that's the cloth I'm cut from, I think.
You do have some decent players. I mean, you look at Paquetá and you look at Jarrod Bowen. Okay, there are issues in defence, in goal. Two, I know, and that is absolutely the concern. So it's a question of recruitment, it's a question of management, it's a question of leadership. Just looking at the protests yesterday, because these are so important, because these are very well organised, and I don't actually would say that you've got the most militant of fan bases, and I think the grievance is absolutely genuine, whether it's about the direction of the club, whether it's about the attack on concessions, and obviously the residual concern about what's going on the pitch. But the fact that 3,000 fans turned up in one of the protests yesterday is absolutely huge. Will those protests only ebb away once the current ownership actually sell?
I'd sell or start or deliver success again. There was no protests or moaning or complaining or anything like that when we were in Europe and finishing 6th, 7th and 9th. And winning the European competition and going deep in the Europa League 3 seasons on the bounce. There was none of that then. But I just think there's a real lack of faith among the fan base that the current ownership and the structure has the capabilities to deliver sustained success in that fashion again. I think it's a very difficult thing to do. I think we're a difficult club to manage, no doubt a difficult club to own as well, because the large size of the fan base, the passionate nature of it, and this real desire to play a certain brand of football. I think all of those things are quite difficult to live up to and deliver, frankly. But I just think there's a lack of faith anymore that among the fans that this current setup are able to deliver success again. But if they're proved wrong and that comes back, then all those protests will go away. But until that time, then fans will protest, and sort of good on them really, because the football clubs they mean everything to people, don't they? And if they feel that there's nothing for them to sort of cling on to and look forward to, and they're not happy with the way things are going and being run, then sort of power to them really.
Will Pugh, disgruntled West Ham fan, and there's quite a few of them. Thank you very much. Will is host of the West Ham podcast. You can also catch him on Tactics Exposed on the Southern website. Man of many hats. This is Sunday Edition on talkSPORT, and next up, it's our feature Best of the Best. This is Sunday edition on talkSPORT with Shaun, Custis and Henry Winter. We'll look at the World Athletics Championships and preview the big game today, which is Arsenal v Man City, later on in the show. But now it's time for this.
One of the greatest tries ever scored, but she won't get there. Kaylee Hodgkinson is the Olympic champion.
I'm going to float like a butterfly and sting like a bee.
Oh, Stephen Hermanson, one of the great balls. Double 12! Oh, my word!
Best of the best on Sunday edition.
I think I'm a special one.
I think he's done it! Yes! You beauty!
Let's be having you!
On talkSPORT.
Yeah, this is our special feature where we look at the best of something, and we've decided to pick out this one today, the best of the one-season wonders.
Sarge has already got three. Now he's got four. Michu trying a shot into the corner, and the white dove scores again.
Gets his breaking clear with a chance to put it away for Bolton. He's round the goalkeeper. Wicket! Promotion!
And Hosselu, who struggled to make any kind of impact in the Premier League at Stoke, has made a colossal impact on this Champions League semi-final.
When I had a player at Portsmouth, Benjani. Benji was a great guy.
Bubadi up finds Benjani against Kasapa, shoots. Oh, that's magnificent!
He's getting towards the departure gate, and he's telling me that he wants to stay at Portsmouth. I end up pushing him and got him onto the plane.
Yeah, there's some belters, and the reason we've gone for this week is that Nashville's Sam Surridge is vying for the MLS Golden Boot with Lionel Messi. I think it was level during the week. Messi may just have gone ahead of him last night.
22-21.
22-21.
Yeah.
And for Sam, this comes after a mixed career in the English lower leagues. And he spoke to Henry earlier in the week and reflected on his dark days at Oldham.
They had a lot of money problems. I think lads we needed to... They weren't. Some of them weren't even getting paid, and it was. You definitely see the probably the darker side of football, especially when you drop down into those lower leagues, League Two. And I think, like I said, it gives you that winning feeling when you do win, and how important it is. And it's something that I've always tried to carry with me, and that intensity, and it's something that I've tried to bring over here. And yeah, it's definitely.
How do you mean the darker side? It's just that they had to win because
you had to win. Yeah, I think because it's just yeah, you just had to. And I think when you don't, managers are under pressure quicker. If managers are under pressure, they need to change the team. And especially when you're a younger player, you probably get the brunt of it more. Probably my career more took off when I was at Oldham because I think I was younger at the time. I scored my goals and yeah, under pressure. And I think when you put that pressure on you and you're scoring goals, I think that's where you kind of learn to be the player you are, and it wasn't easy. But I think, yeah, like you said, the darker side is not. It's something that you probably got to experience at a young age, and then you come out better for it in the end.
When I saw this story while lying on my Sloan Lounger on holiday last week, I thought, Sam Surridge, yeah, I've heard of him vaguely. What's he done? And then it turns out he's, I think, 27 now, a jobbing footballer, you would say, and suddenly pops up in the MLS, and wow, he's headlines.
Yeah, it's brilliant, isn't it? He started out at Bournemouth, played non-league. I was trying to sort of do a Yeovil to Nashville headline. I mean, he was talking about what it's like flying around the United States on the club plane, and it was a little bit different from getting on the team bus at Yeovil Town and heading up to Carlisle. So yeah, I mean, he's done it. It's the power of application, of dedication. He's obviously got a good support network around him, enjoying life in Nashville. It'll be interesting to see whether he comes back. The sort of clubs over here or in Europe that look at him. But yeah, this duel with Messi is fascinating, and he's got Suarez and Busquets on the pitch against him. He said Suarez hasn't lost his temper, but he just admires the skill and basically how players like that just know how to sort of work in bursts of sustained action. So yeah, so Messi 22, Surridge 21. I mean, it's a fantastic golden period.
But his goal scoring record in England wasn't particularly good, was it?
No, I mean, he didn't. I mean, he lasted, 4 months at Stoke City, and then obviously knew Steve Cooper from his time on loan at Swansea City. He went to Nottingham Forest, and it was, I mean, the Forest, and the reaction to the piece, a lot of Forest fans saying, we really liked him, but there was obviously so much competition for places. It was that time when they had so many strikers. So, yeah, I mean, good for him that he's headed off on the road because he wants to play.
Now, featured in our package there was Joselu as well, who I accept played a lot of games down the years, but let's be honest, didn't pull up any trees at Stoke, didn't pull up any trees at Newcastle, unbelievably pitches up at Real Madrid, wins the Champions League, scores in the semi-final, then he goes and wins Euro 2024 with Spain. You think, how on earth did that happen late in life when, let's be honest, he was a pretty ordinary footballer?
He was about fourth of your pecking order of strikers.
It was.
Perez,
and we groaned every time he came on.
You had Perez, Rondon, I think, was there at the time. And was it Yoshinori Muto, was it, the Japanese?
I don't think he was very good.
But if he was, Joselu was below them. So, yes, you don't remember him fondly.
No, not at all. But blimey, it was incredible for Spain and Real Madrid. And when Real Madrid signed him, I thought it was a stunt. Genuinely, I thought it was a stunt. Why are they saying him? They needed a bit of reinforcements for that season, and yet there he was. He's got all the big medals, and he can look back on his career absolutely, totally fulfilled, and probably not remember very fondly the Newcastle and the Stoke days.
So, if he walked through the big market, would he get nods of recognition?
Yes,
yeah,
he would. But I mean, he's not even a cult figure, to be honest. I mean, but he would get nods of recognition, and then we'd probably say, all right. No, that would be it. Now, what about some of your other one-season wonders?
Well, I mean, Michael Ricketts had to be in there. 13 goals before February at Bolton, 2001, 2002. And I mean, he was sort of unstoppable. I remember going to interview him. I went to his house in Birmingham, in the middle of Birmingham, or flat, and absolutely fascinating character. I think his dad was working for the New York Post Office at the time. At that extraordinary time, do you remember when they had that ricin scare in New York, when people were posting ricin through the post, and the post office people were having to wear sort of double-padded gloves and all that? So that was the interview took a sort of slight detour on that. But yeah, I mean, he played, we were both there, wasn't it? The Amsterdam game.
Amsterdam, yes. He made his debut for England, lasted a half, and from memory, his dad came to watch him and didn't get there for the first half, and only got there for the second half, and his son had been subbed. That was the last we saw of him in an England shirt.
But there was serious talk about, is he going to go to the World Cup in Japan? Because Sven certainly had a look at him, but that was a slight surprise.
Yeah, but hey, his career tells you he's an England international. So there we are. And he did have a formidable time at Bolton, but it all tailed off, didn't it, after that one season? We heard Harry Redknapp on there talking about Ben Charney.
Yeah.
He was a curious footballer as well, wasn't he?
19 goals in 70 appearances for Portsmouth in the league. Goes to Manchester City for about four and a bit million. 4 goals in 25 in 2 seasons there. I mean, it went off the absolutely sort of just ebbed there. I went to see him last year because he was at St George's Park doing one of these sort of Premier League player to coaches, and I think he's been working in the academy. And he spoke so emotionally about his time at Portsmouth and Manchester City, almost putting them on a sort of level in terms of his impact. But obviously it was mainly at Portsmouth how well he did there. But yeah, it was extraordinary how his form dipped.
I'm sure everybody's got a favourite one-season wonder from their own clubs as well. But as I say, I'll go a long way to top Joselu.
Michu,
yes, Michu of Swansea. That was remarkable, wasn't it? Because let's be honest, when he signed for Swansea, who were in the Premier League at the time, nobody had really heard of this fella, and he hit the ground running, didn't he?
18 goals that season.
Well, not really an out-and-out striker. He was a number 9.5.
9.5. But they did play very effectively towards
really
it.
Good team.
And at the end of the season, I think it was
won the League Cup.
He won the League Cup. I think you wrote about it. He was being linked with sort of like 25 million pound. Well, you linked him with everyone, or you linked him with Newcastle.
After they thumped Bradford City in the final.
Yeah, and then it sort of it tailed off. I think he's now working as a technical,
but forever a Swansea legend.
Absolutely, yeah.
I love a one-season wonder. Good memories. As I say, you probably all got your favourite one-season wonders. They were ours. Coming up next here on Sunday Edition, we'll be talking athletics and academy football.
Life after football. For a lot of players, it means going into punditry. Some turn to coaching or working in the game in other ways. But what about the rest? Some former footballers turn their sights away from the game, and there are a few big surprises. First up, from rainbow flicks to pancake flips. Ex-Chelsea and Southampton defender Ken Monku switched up his footballing career to buy a Dutch pancake house. He bought out the shop, which had been his favourite pancake spot as a child, and before long he was mixing the batter and getting behind the stove. Next, Everton legend Thomas Gravesen swapped out the high stakes of the Premier League for those of the poker room. He made over 150 appearances for the Toffees and won the Scottish Premier League with Celtic. Turned out the Danish international was pretty darn good at poker. He racked up a reported £100 million from his Las Vegas adventures. Remember former Chelsea goalkeeper Petr Cech? Turns out football nets weren't the only goals he was pretty handy in front of. After retirement, he became a goaltender in ice hockey. Same skills, very different surface. And he even won a Division 2 title with Guildford Phoenix. For ex-Liverpool centre-back Daniel Agger, it wasn't just fancy footwork that was in his blood. He was also pretty good with his hands. The Denmark international turned to tattoo artistry after he hung up his boots. He'd qualified as a skin artist while at Anfield, and he then became the co-owner of his own tattoo company as well. It's not all glamour for ex-pros though. 1966 World Cup winner Ray Wilson set up a very different kind of business. He became an undertaker after he retired. Finally, not many people can say they've won both a World Cup and starred in an Oscar-winning film. In fact, there's only one person in the entire world who can say that. Frank Leboeuf, the former Chelsea defender, was part of the 1998 France squad who won the World Cup. He ended up marking Brazil's Ronaldo in the final and helped his side to a 3-0 win. But Leboeuf had already begun acting on the side while he was playing football, and his biggest role came some years after his retirement when he landed the part of a doctor in the Stephen Hawking biopic The Theory of Everything.
I embrace the career of acting, so I want to learn more. So seeing lots of movies is a part of my job.
To be honest, with all the dramatic diving in the game these days, there's probably tons of ex-pros who've got the acting skills to make it in Hollywood.
Yeah, this is Sunday edition, and we're now going to reflect on the sad news overnight about the passing at the age of 47 of Matt Beard, the former Liverpool women's football manager, who was a major figure in the women's game. And Henry, you've been having a look through some of the statements various clubs have released and the WSL about this sad news.
Yes, I mean, football is mourning the loss of, well, one of the legends of management in the women's game. And just looking at his career, I mean, it was a remarkable career. Millwall Lionesses, promotion. Chelsea got into the cup final. Liverpool, see those back-to-back title wins in 2013 and 2014. They went over to the United States. Boston Breakers, back here, West Ham, Bristol City, back to Liverpool, won the women's championship title in 2022, and then was at Burnley before leaving last month. And just looking at some of the statements, everyone talking very much about his impact on women's football and his legacy to the growing game, but also to his character as well. And I'll just pick out two, if I may, quickly, briefly. Richard Bevan, the chief executive of the League Managers Association, he mentions Matt Beard's sense of humour and big personality was matched by his empathy and kindness. Emma Hayes, he was always smiling, always coaching from the touchline. He was someone who gave a huge deal to the game and to his players. He was one of a kind, and his loss will be felt by all. He's a very kind, compassionate, caring man. And in all this, we obviously think of his wife and two children and his stepson, and our thoughts are with them.
I don't know if you ever saw it, but from memory, he figured quite heavily in the West Ham women documentary. It was about 3 or 4 episodes, and you get a sense of what a big figure he was in football from that. Compassionate with his players, but with an edge, and totally invested in the women's game.
I think Gilly Flaherty, who obviously played under him, she has put out a very emotional statement on what he meant to her and her career.
We're joined now by Joe Shannon, who's talkSPORT's women's football reporter. Morning, Joe.
Good morning, Shaun. Good morning, Henry.
Morning.
Joe, I don't know where to start with this, but it's obviously news that has devastated the game.
It is desperately shocking, desperately sad. And first and foremost, I think, you're absolutely right to point out that this is a human tragedy, first of all. 47 years of age, it's no age at all. And this is somebody who was a husband, a friend, and a father. And I think that really gives you all the perspective that you need on it. A tremendously successful football manager, of course, an influential figure, somebody who commanded the respect of everybody in the game, universal respect of everybody in the game. And you've seen that with the tributes that have been pouring in, this wealth and breadth of tributes from across football for Matt Beard. And fundamentally, I come back to it again. It's just so particularly sad for his family. I think the whole of football is really shocked by this news.
Matt, can you give us an idea what he was like to deal with as a journalist? We get very used to dealing with managers in the male game. Was it a different sort of manager in the female game?
Well, I think he was always courteous and respectful, first of all. I think one of the things that has been mentioned, and one of the fun things about him, was that he would, if he heard a question from you that he felt was perhaps a little unfair or a little misjudged, then he would come back at you with a robust answer. But it was always done in a respectful, in a nice way. So he was a character, certainly, and you saw that on the touchline with his cajoling of his players and the energy that he provided. But everything was done in the right way, in the proper way, with a touch of kindness. He was a very gentle person and a nice person to speak to. And as I say, a lot of the tributes that have come in, you speak about Matt Beard's legacy in the game, what he's achieved, and he achieved a heck of a lot, and a heck of a lot that spanned well over a decade. When you look at when he won the WSL twice with Liverpool, still very much a relevant figure in the game, right up until now, and but what players say, speaking to players, speaking to people in the women's game, universally, is the respect for Matt Beard as a person. And again, as a journalist, our exchanges were always very cordial. And I think for many of the journalists who knew Matt better than I did, all the journalists who knew Matt better than I did, there would have been exactly the same level of mutual respect. And the way that he conducted himself was professional and proper. And it's just a tremendously sad loss.
You talk about his people skills, and everyone's been mentioning those this morning, which is obviously such a huge part, particularly of modern management. But what was he like as a sort of tactician, setting up his team?
Well, he was very flexible, and I think he got the best out of all the players that he had at his disposal. You look at the Liverpool team that he managed, and players like Olivia Smith, who is now at Arsenal and this summer became the world's first £1 million female footballer. She speaks about Matt Beard in another emotive tribute, and says, I can't remember the exact words, but she says, I wouldn't have been where I am today without you. So Matt Beard was somebody who was a great player manager, a great developer of players. He came in at different jobs, and he had a succession of different jobs, of course, in this country, but he worked successfully in the United States, at Boston as well. He was somebody who could improve players, and he was a manager who tactically was flexible. I think we saw that throughout his time at Liverpool in the two spells in particular. Took Liverpool, of course, back into the WSL, and there was always a versatility about that Liverpool team. He could mix it up depending on who they were coming up against, whether it was one of the so-called big guns or whether it was a team that they would expect to beat. But a game against a Matt Beard team was a difficult game, whoever you were in the WSL. And there were some tremendously entertaining matches, particularly for Liverpool at home in that first season back in the WSL, where they surprised a few people. I don't think many had been expecting Liverpool to do as well as they ended up doing in that first season back in particular. So he was adaptable, he was dependable, he brought players on, he improved players, and he helped elevate them to new heights. And of course, as we know in football, that's a skill that is about technicals and ability, but it's also about player management, being a good human, being a good person, and that's what he was.
Liverpool's game at Aston Villa today in the Women's Super League has actually been postponed to mark the passing of Matt Beard. But Joe, you will be at Man United v Arsenal. It will be an emotional day for all the women involved in the Women's Super League. How are you going to approach that game?
Well, it of course takes a completely different slant and feel, doesn't it now, Shaun? I mean, it was a game that, people up until yesterday, were thoroughly looking forward to in the context of it being an early season top of the table clash. These are two teams that have started well, and I'm sure will feel, Manchester United and Arsenal, that they can compete with Chelsea for the Women's Super League title. Of course, what has happened over the last 24 hours is a great reminder of, as is always the case when such things happen, the real importance of things in life. And there'll be many players on the field, among the substitutes, coaches, staff on the bench who had a connection with Matt Beard, who knew Matt Beard, who worked with him, who played under him. So the atmosphere will be strange. Of course it will. It's never nice for anybody in this sort of situation, and I'm sure is always difficult for players and coaches to keep attention focused fully on the game. But no doubt the tributes will be poignant. They will be moving, and hopefully on the field, the players can produce something of a footballing tribute. But no question that what has happened has overshadowed all of the fixtures this weekend in the Women's Super League, and rightly so.
Joe Shannon, thank you for your time on what is a very sad day for not just women's football, but football in general.
Yeah, and obviously thoughts with family, with wife, two children, stepson. I think he's a coach at Chelsea, so absolutely. But his legacy is there in all of the statements and the tributes that former players of his have issued, of talking about him as an incredible coach, but also, most importantly, as an amazing man, full of compassion.
And you can hear more of those tributes at the match, Manchester United v Arsenal in the Women's Super League, which is on talkSPORT 2, with commentary from Joe Shannon, who we just heard from there, and former lead striker Lucy Ward. Next up, the story of an amazing football academy. This is Sunday edition on talkSPORT with myself, Shaun, Custis and Henry Winter. We're with you to 11 o'clock. I mentioned earlier on that we're going to be talking academy football now, but this appears to be an academy with a bit of a difference, set up by Matty Bryan. He is the owner of Footy Tots, which, as the name suggests, I think, means he gets the players pretty young. Matty, good morning.
Good morning, Shaun. Morning, Henry. Okay?
Hi, Matty.
Matty, we've had a look at your website before, and it looks like it says you get players in from 18 months old to start them on a football journey.
Yeah, that's correct. We don't get them playing actual football at 18 months old. So we do a pre-school program, which is based on just getting them to develop a lot of their own natural skills, and we introduce the football. So each week we have different themes at Footy Tots. So it's to capture their imagination and to keep the football at their feet whilst doing this. For example, next week we'll be doing a theme on pirates. So it sort of captures the children's imaginations, and they'll go around a little circuit, kicking the ball through a tunnel, for example, which might be a pirate's cave and stuff like this. And we put stickers on the feet, on the insides of the feet, and to be honest with you, it does work really, really well. It stops them picking the ball up, which they will naturally do at that age. And when we do get them to 4, they then move up to our soccer schools where they actually play football mini matches.
We've heard a criticism over the years, Matty, about players being schooled too young and turning up at professional football clubs when they're 7, 8, 9, maybe even getting released. Mm-hmm. Is it wise to be bringing in kids at this age in an academy and almost schooling them into football when probably in our day we'd been out on the street or on the park just messing about with our mates?
No, I know. To be honest with you, I've played football myself at a semi-professional level, and I didn't start playing until 9 years old. Nowadays, children starting younger and younger, and even since I've started this, the age has gone younger and younger the last couple of years. In my experience with the academies and the links that we do have, obviously, I think at any age group, I know they are young, that it can be quite cutthroat. But one thing I have noticed with the academies, they are really, really good with the children. They offer them such good experiences, whether that means they go on to play for the academies. For example, with the Man City, Man United in our area, I think some of the children at Man United last year got to play on Old Trafford. Like, that's something I could never have dreamed of doing. At Man City, they do offer lots of things for the families to meet the players, go to games. And from speaking to a lot of parents, a lot of them do just see it as good experience, and they are quite laid back. You do get parents who might be that little bit more pushy, but it's just good experience and memories for them with little pressure at this age.
Your kids have got quite a good record against local teams that you've been playing against: City and United, Liverpool, Blackpool, Fleetwood, Everton, slightly further afield, Crewe, Leicester, Sheffield United. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Of the 26 games that you've played, you've only lost twice. And what age group is that?
So this was our under-7s. So at each age group, we put a number of teams in. We've got 27 teams this year, and we play in the NYSL. And the NYSL is obviously split up into leagues, and we do always have a team who play in that top league. And at our under-7s, we had a really good team, and we had a lot of all but one of these children with us from around 18 months old. So they all come through the programme. They then moved on to the soccer school, and then I put them all into a little team. And yeah, they just all developed and grew really well together. And some of the experience, like I said, they've had against some of these academies. We've gone, we travelled down to Leicester, and yeah, they're just a great team. They're good individuals, which you will get at academies, but they just play really, really well as a team as well, which I think the two together has made them do so well against all these academies.
So is the idea to produce pros? I mean, is that the point of your academy, or is it just can anybody go along and say, you're not very good for 18 months old, you're out?
No, not at all. We're inclusive to all children. We have a full pathway for children to progress into our teams. If they don't do, they can stay in our soccer schools, and we welcome everybody, girls, boys. We've got lots of children with additional needs. With the way that football has developed, I feel like it is best to have this in place for those children who are excelling that little bit more. But we still do cater to every single child. We know we've got over 850 children that come a week. I know each child's name, obviously what works best for each child, which learning, how they might learn best, and who they're most comfortable with. So we do make it quite personal to each child. It's not just, we need to try and produce the best children. The programme will naturally do that, if you understand what I mean, because every child's different.
Did you say 850 come every week?
Yeah, that's...
On the same pitch?
No. So we have, that's over 7 days. That's 850 customers.
To the same place?
No, so we don't have a set venue. I rent venues in the area. That's hopefully the next step where we do get our own venue. But yeah, we do different areas around in the Salford area. We started with 22 kids 6.5 years ago, and obviously we started to grow. Then lockdown come, and then it was a bit of a struggle in lockdown, to be fair. It was quite a new business. We didn't get any help from the government. I did do quite a few things over lockdown to try and help keep everybody fresh in everybody's mind so that they come back. And then thankfully most people did. And then after lockdown, it was when we really grew. We got some great members of staff in. And yeah, we've just continued to grow and keep that great relationship with parents and the children.
You coached at City for a while. Do you get clubs... Obviously, you're playing against them in these mini games, but do you actually get them coming and almost sort of scouting and almost poaching your kids?
So I've got a direct link with Manchester City, and we do get a lot of our children in at Manchester City, whether they stay there or not, because City have a really, really good academy, and it does split up into different groups, like a more advanced group. But what I have noticed over the last couple of years, Manchester United do have a few of our children, but the last couple of years, a lot more local academies like your Salford, Crewe, Blackpool, Stockport, they've started taking them a little bit younger now. So those children who may have gone to Manchester City, and because it is such a good academy and there is so many children out there now who are playing football, they've got the opportunity to go to one of these other academies if they do choose to do so and get picked up. So I'm more than happy for any academy to take any of our children as long as they're enjoying it and it's good experience for them.
Matty Bryan of Footy Tots, fascinating stuff. If you've got an 18-month-old, get them along to one of the Salford academies, Henry. I'm gobsmacked.
Sign them up. Well,
18 months old. Starting out early. This is Sunday edition on talkSPORT with me, Shaun, Custis and Henry Winter. Next up, athletics. What are our prospects for glory in Tokyo today?
It's not often you associate fan power with Chelsea Football Club, but one of the shining examples of it lies with a group called the Chelsea Pitch Owners. And they've proved to be the thorn in the side of owners past and present who've been dead set on moving stadiums to a larger, more lucrative piece of land. Essentially, the supporters group holds the freehold to the land on which Stamford Bridge sits. Former owner Ken Bates set it up at a time where some unruly property developers tried to evict the club from their ground. In order to prevent this, he established the CPO as a company that owned the pitch and offered the fans the chance to buy a share for £100. As well as that, they also own the rights to the name Chelsea Football Club, so if any owner wants to take them elsewhere, they can't be called Chelsea without the approval from the CPO. Now, in 2011, Roman Abramovich tried and failed to move them away from Stamford Bridge, and this has set a precedent for Todd Bowley and the current power brokers at Chelsea. They know any plan which involves moving from Stamford Bridge will require CPO approval from the now 13,000 fans who own it. There are fans who are concerned that if they stay at the bridge, they'll be left behind their domestic and European rivals who are moving to more commercially successful stadiums. But for the heritage and history lovers, Stamford Bridge is one of the iconic English stadiums, and to move away would be a grave mistake. It might not be as flashy as others, but stadiums like it have something about them that cannot be replaced. One thing's for sure, if Bowley wants to take Chelsea away from their home, he'll have to go through the CPO first.
Time for a switch of sport here on Sunday edition with myself, Shaun, Custis and Henry Winter, and we're talking world athletics. Karina Johnson-Thompson got a bronze in the heptathlon yesterday. Amy Hunt, of course, won a silver earlier on in the 200 metre, and Jake Whiteman claimed silver in the 1500, but we haven't got a gold yet, so we're hoping that Keely Hodgkinson can do the business today to follow up her Olympic gold. Who better to talk world athletics than Tessa Sanderson, the former Olympic gold medalist at the javelin? Good morning, Tessa.
Good morning. How you doing, guys?
Morning, very, Tessa. Very good. Great to see you and hear you. Tessa, there was quite a bit of debate going on yesterday about whether this World Athletics will be seen as a success or a failure or somewhere in between, particularly when the relay runners messed it up yesterday. How would you judge it so far?
Well, to be honest, I've been watching the games, and it's been a very, very good games for Team GB. But just hoping that in some places it's been a little bit better. But so far, I mean, the performances that were expected of a few people, and so has been up to speed. But I tell you what, when you're looking at, for me, Amy Hunt was just outstanding. I mean, she had the performance, of the time of her life, and she ran well and beat a lot of sort of Olympic great heads, and she just went out for it, and that's what you've got to do out there in the games. I mean, she's had some injuries, got back, and tough for her, but no, she's had a super game. So me, so far for Team GB, that's been performance of the games for me.
Yeah, and fantastic fun. And I think athletics, while you say this has been a brilliant competition, it does need its characters. And somebody like Amy, for the British athletics, I know Keely's a great character too, is a bit of a boost for the sport, isn't it? She's charismatic, she has a bit of a laugh, she looks like she's enjoying herself, and she's produced an amazing performance.
Yeah, but the thing is to say, she's very charismatic as such, is what you're saying. But I think these World Championships have proved to me that some of the, like a lot of the talents that you probably wouldn't see, the World Athletics themselves have given it a chance for them to showcase, like the Caribbean people. But coming back to the Brits, I think we've done very well. But personally, again, I was hoping that would be on a bit more medal stakes than this, especially yesterday when we had the 4x1 relay. Come on, this is just getting ridiculous now, because a lot of money has been pumped into relays, to run, to sprints, more than field eventers, because we had hardly any field eventers out there. And I think if we were to use some of that to sort of get some camps and things like that going, we could probably showcase and pull out a lot more of the talent from behind. But it's time for us to stop with all this Mickey Mouse and dropping the button and things like that, and absolutely get it right. But we have got some good things, which is, looking to happen. Like today, boys, we've got the 800 coming up, haven't we? With old Keely and, and Georgia Hunter-Bell and things like that. So I think we've got good things to look forward to. But Team GB, I was hoping to be on the medal stakes a little bit more, but let's not knock it, because, old Jake Whiteman did really, really well. And when everybody was sort of promoting Josh Kerr, although Josh has done superb, Jake came through, did what he needed to do there. But, we need to man up a little bit in a lot of places. But if we're talking today on this race with Keely and Hunter Bell in there, I reckon, I'm sticking my neck out a lot, but I reckon we could get a gold and a bronze here. But if nobody sort of get boxed in or anything like that, and Keely runs a race of her life like she did in Paris last year, I think we're in for some good things today.
Tessa, with Georgia Hunter-Bell's been talking about her friendship with Keely Hodgkinson and the fact that...
Say that again, please. Say that again.
Sorry, Georgia Hunter-Bell's been talking about her friendship and the fact that she'd been training with Keely Hodgkinson. They obviously are good friends. From an elite athlete's perspective, how do you switch that off and go into rivals mode?
Well, I think rivalry is a darn good thing. I really do, because, you know, I had that rival, as you all knew, with Fatima out there in the javelin. And I think, you know, that pulled a great lot of performances out of me. But it's not just about sort of a rivalry on home ground. It's about rivalry with other athletes out there, other competitors. And this is the World Championships. And the thing is, although we all start at the start but one, I think it's a competition where it makes a sort of mind, soul and body and pull everything together. So you got to go in there and not really sort of concentrate on rivalry, but focus amongst yourself on what you're going to do and what you need to do.
You mentioned earlier on, Tessa, about the field events. I was talking to my wife about this yesterday when we were watching the athletics and wondered where all the field eventers have gone, because we used to have the great tradition in it. Yourself, obviously one of the major people who established field events for the Brits. You know, Jonathan Edwards, triple jump, you know, things like that. Yet now, very few.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I'm just saying that, you know, if Team GB we've had a lot of money spent into athletics to do well, and, you know, we don't want things happening like the relay that we did. I think Amy has showed what we really want to do is get out there and fight for what you really want to do. Our sprinters has done okay, and you know, we just need to sort of get our heads a little bit more together when we get to that start line to say, look, you know, this is what we're going to do. It doesn't really matter about the rest of the world. We have got to get in there and fight for what we've been training for, what we need to do, and look to do our best. For me, I don't think it's any more sort of, oh, you know, I want to get to the final, I want to get to this. I want to get out there and win. You know, I want to get out there and win. I want to get out there and sort of do my damnedest to show what I need to do. And that's how it happens. Sometimes you do get a little bit of injury that you're going into these performances. And I have to say, guys, that when you come up to the 1500, just looking at Josh again, I'm not sure whether, you know, Josh had a little bit of injury going into that and probably didn't want to say, not to put the kibosh on because he's a great athlete. But I just think that for the way it looked to me, there must have been something going on anyway. But put all that aside, yeah, we have had a good games. We're looking to more happen today. I'm really excited about the girls, but I just want to make sure and feel a bit comfortable that when it comes to the 800 race today, that there's no boxing going on and that Georgia's got to get in a good position. Keely, get comfortable like I saw her in Paris and run her own race. Be careful of those two Kenyans, the Morris sisters. I think so, because you know, you've just got to go for it. I'm not Keely's coach or anything, but I think about 600 meters or so, 200 meters. Come on, girl. You can do it. She's tough, and that's what we need.
You'd scare the life out of me, though, Tessa, if you were me coach. You still sound as competitive as ever. I mean, me and Henry were just joking before we came on air. You know how runners still go out for a run and footballers still play a bit of football even long after they've finished. Do you still fling a javelin from time to time?
Oh, do you know what? I have been so disappointed, guys, that we haven't had any javelin throws over the last... It's been 42 years since I won the Olympic Games. And hey, I'm happy no one's broken the record, male or female. But at the end of the day, we need to dig out this and find and work together with field eventers a little bit more so we can have camps like we do for sprinters and those, and, you know, money on like relays and all these going out there. Let's put some to field eventers. So we have got a couple of javelin throws. And actually, unfortunately, the standard we have is very high and it's world standard. But like some of the other countries may be in, like Becca throwing 59, these competitions I know drag out that little extra bit on you. So I think we are down in field eventers a lot. Molly, who was out there in the pole vault, unfortunately she did get injured. Scott Lincoln in the shot, he did fairly well too. But I think in ourselves as field eventers here, we've got to man up and get our game together as well. But I and just get ourselves together and get field events out there. It does take planners, but we'll just have to do it.
Tessa, how important are schools in all this? Because I can remember my generation, partly inspired by you. It was everyone sort of at school practiced javelin in the summer, even if we were useless at it.
Yeah.
What was that again?
In terms of, is there still javelin coaching going on, or classes or participation in it at school level?
Well, there is javelin coaching going on across the country. But I think one of the things is that some of the field eventers are probably, and the coaches are suffering from, is that we need a bit of help too, a bit of finance being pumped behind it, a bit of concentration being pumped into field eventers, because I honestly do feel that sprinters get a lot more priority than field eventers do. And remember, in the 80s, for what it's worth, with Whitbread, myself, the Backleys, Michaela, all of us, we made up Team GB, and in a lot of competitions, we saved the day for track and field when Team GB was out there. So I do think that I sympathise with a lot of the coaches. We need the help. We really do. But hopefully, for what we have got at the moment, things will start turning around and we'll start seeing some good javelin throwers and the help assisted. Because if you look out here at these World Championships, the girl who won the javelin, for instance, from Angola, I think her name was, and she's from Ecuador. Yeah. Well, come on. I've never heard of the girl, have to be honest. And she threw 65 metres to win that competition. Plus, and, there it was. They must have been nurturing that talent. And also you had the Caribbean, the guys from Grenada and Trinidad and Tobago coming up there doing all this. India, they formed camps and things like that for their special throws. Come on, GB, I just think we need to sort of really get together, sympathise a little bit more and recognise field eventers are out there. We need a helping hand.
Sounds like you should be running the show, Tessa. Thank you very much for your insight. Tessa Sanderson, former Olympic gold medalist. Very passionate, Henry.
Very passionate. Well, we used to have a field day, literally.
Well, we did,
in terms of those
she was
sports,
part of the golden generation.
She was. I mean, it was... I can remember that, 81 to 84, she kept on having those Achilles injuries, and just that resilience, and then to produce on that great day in LA was magical. But as she says, there needs to be more investment. There needs to be maybe almost a sort of a big think or an inquest into what's happening with our field athletes.
I never got to find out whether she still throws a javelin or not, though. Never mind, maybe another time. You're listening to Sunday Edition. Next up, we're talking Arsenal v Man City. It's the final part of Sunday Edition with myself, Shaun, Custis and Henry Winter. We've had great reaction to our Best of the One Season Wonders feature. They've been piling in, but a heck of a lot. For Marco Negri at Rangers, Adam in the Wirral says he was a world beater for a season, then disappeared after a bizarre injury. And that bizarre injury, according to Ian from Irvine, was he got injured playing squash, then did nothing, scored a barrel load of goals before Christmas, and that was it.
Right.
And my other favourite, Adil Tarabt,
yes,
who was a QPR fan, says that it was the ultimate one-season wonder. Pretty much single-handedly won QPR the 10-11 championship title with his mercurial talent. Never hit those levels again. I remember when Harry Redknapp went to QPR, I think he said he was 3 stone overweight. And his agent at the time, Kia Jarabshin, invited myself and I think it was Jason Burt from The Telegraph to go and see whether Adil Tarabt was 3 stone overweight. And he stripped off his top, he pinched his flesh, and you would have to say he wasn't 3 stone overweight. We had a big picture of him, shirt off, saying, "Do I look 3 stone overweight?"
And what did your mate Harry say to that?
Do you know what? Tarabt was out by that. He just wasn't playing him. So I think it just went over Harry's head, really. He wasn't that bothered. But it's fair to say, on his day, he was quite a talent, but we never saw enough of on his day. Arsenal v Man City takes place this afternoon. Yeah. Already, is it a must-win for Arsenal?
Yeah, it is. I mean, look,
6 points behind with a game in hand on Liverpool.
It's a big game for many reasons. I'm going along, I'll be covering the game, and you know when you head into the Emirates, you got the roundabout by that very good cafe there, and then you turn right and you head in. So the Arsenal hub is right next door to the Emirates, and I mentioned this. It's a very serious issue. We can get on to the game, but 2 hours before kickoff in the Arsenal hub, they are opening the doors, and there's a specialist suicide prevention drop-in service, and this is all part of the Premier League's Together Against Suicide campaign, which has been running for a couple of weeks. And what Arsenal are doing with this hub is, before every Premier League game, for 2 hours before, for during the game, and for 2 hours afterwards, fans can go in and talk to an NHS mental health nurse. And it's a really important initiative. And football provides this almost a sort of like a non-questioning setting that you can just walk in there, because people say, I'm just going to go down to the ground. And they can actually go in and talk to, if they're going on to the game, obviously it's incredibly easy to do, but actually just to talk to people. And so well played, well done to Arsenal, and well done to the Premier League for this Together Against Suicide campaign, which all clubs are involved in.
Absolutely. Hear to that. On the game between Arsenal and City, Mikel Arteta gave his thoughts and also reacted to the news of Tim Lewis, the board member, leaving.
Yeah, it's about winning again and creating, another good moment for us. Consistency, competing against one of the best teams, obviously, in the world, and good test for us to see our level as well. Well, there've been quite a lot of changes since I arrived at the club. First of all, obviously, Tim is leaving, and I would like to say a few words, because he's been someone that I really enjoy working with. I think he has a tremendous contribution for everything that we've done over the last few years. Then on Rich, congratulations, obviously, because it's a massive role to be the CEO of this football club. And then welcome to the new members of the board. that hopefully they're going to make us better and help us and bring ideas and support and make this club much better. It's ultimately Stan's and Joe's decision. They've been incredibly supportive, so we move on again.
There's a lot of pressure on Arsenal today to win, and it, coming up against a team like Man City is not going to be easy, especially if they've had a stuttering start and trying to get back on track. And City boss Pep Guardiola was asked if his side might be coming back to their best.
No, you should ask me after Brighton, 10 days ago. I know what the people say. We were not good, really. I know my team is consistent, because when you win 6 Premier Leagues, we have been a machine, the consistent team. And for that, you have to prove more. But, of course, we arrived the week against United, against Napoli, and now that is not, I would say, an easy week, but in the Premier League always like that. And important, the feeling, the vibe of the team, body language especially. I'm just focused on that. The kindness and the body language of the team has grew up. And I'm pretty pleased for that. And hopefully we can win or lose. Yeah, always going to try, but when you see the team is in good vibe, that is what you have to try to do.
City have had a pretty good week, Henry. And for Arsenal, this is going to be a proper test of whether they are title challengers. Yeah, just on City, as you say, a good week. Donnarumma coming in provides that sort of security and that presence, and that he's a commanding goalkeeper. He's in the elite in the world. The spine. I mean, Diaz, when he's on form, is outstanding. I mean, it's great to see from an England perspective and also City's perspective. Phil Foden playing so well last 2 games. I think he's been outstanding. Haaland is just a remarkable individual. I mean, everyone talks about other strikers around the world, but everyone would have Haaland in their team. He's just remarkable. Rodri sort of regaining fitness. So yeah, that spine there, and Doku. You look at Doku. Yeah, I think he's
started really well.
He has, and his final ball, his decision making is really coming on, and Pep's coaching, you can see how it's influencing him there. So yeah, right off City at your peril. A little more direct City are this season. Yeah. It's good to see both teams launching it long now and again, Henry. I know you're a great fan of the long ball. Well, I know you are, because you've never given it up. But I think we're seeing long throws as well as long balls. I mean, there's quite a variety. Instead of 1,000 passes and may or may not find a hole in the defence. But we're also seeing exciting wing play. I mean, Madueke's been good. Martinelli, and he had that attack through the middle, but he's excellent. And just if they can get that ball in low and hard to Gyökeres, he'll do some damage. But you're right. But it's wing play, and you're seeing it all over now, going back to beating the fullback and getting your cross in, not going down the wing as Grealish was taught at Man City, checking back and laying it back again. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's good to see. Look, we love wingers. Absolutely we do. So Man City to win, Henry? No, I think Arsenal, I can just see them. There's just something about them. They know they have to keep pace with Liverpool. Other games are available. Bournemouth v Newcastle, Eddie Howe going home for the weekend. And Sunderland v Aston Villa. They're both 2:00 games. That's it for us this week. We'll be back next week. Up next, it's the warm-up with Max Rushton and Barry Glendenning.